Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. I'm Jonathan Ledger. I am the Skills and Professional Body Specialist at the Department for Business and Trade, and I lead on the UK Skills Partnership. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to this session this morning of Skills Fest. This is one of 11 sessions, so we are motoring on this week. I think this is session number 5. We have another session this afternoon, lunchtime at 12 o'clock, and another session at 4 o'clock. Different speakers, different subjects, and the same again tomorrow, Thursday. We have 3 sessions, 8 a.m., 12 and 4 p.m, and we have a final session on Friday at 8 a.m. Today is no exception in terms of the breadth and depth of UK expertise in skills and training. We've got some brilliant organisations and brilliant speakers, so I'm really looking forward to this morning's session. Let me just quickly introduce them. So we have Crispin Reed from the Coders Guild. We have Erica Farmer from QuantumRise. Good morning to you both. We have Carlos Ferrao. He's from Upskill Universe. Paul Saunders and Lindsey from Gateway Qualifications and Code Institute. We have Kavitha. She's from Sainaptic. We have Pete from Upskill People, and we have Cassandra from Metaverse Learning. So very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us so early. You will hear from all of them later, everybody. If you have any questions, do put them in the chat. We will come back to them. And a big tip for everybody, including our speakers, drop your LinkedIn profile if you have one into the chat with your contact details, just to enable a bit of networking amongst each other and amongst the speakers. That'll be fantastic. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive straight into Crispin Reed from the Coders Guild with his presentation. But thank you very much for joining, and a good morning to you all. Crispin, over to you.
Thanks very much, Jonathan. Hello, everyone. Really excited to be here. Let me see if I can share the correct window. This one. Right, is that working? Looks like it is.
All good, all good.
Excellent, excellent. So I feel really privileged to be kicking things off with the first presentation. Let me just get stuck in my first. Oh, where do I go next? Here we go. Next. So. £94 billion. It's a massive number. Now, this is from a bit of research by Be The Business. 94 billion is what it's thought would be put into the UK economy if UK SMEs got 1% more efficient. Now, this is over 5 years, and there's some similar stuff from McKinsey giving similar figures about 3 years and 54 billion, but this is 1% more efficient. Now, the place that we are at in the world in tech is that AI and automation can give us more than 1%, can give us 10%, 20, 40% rises in efficiency, and that is absolutely enormous. You know, that is with the upskilling that we can do for these businesses, it's an enormous impact, not just to the economy, but also for things like social mobility and people's general well-being. And the lever that we have for this growth is the businesses that already exist. So SMEs don't need to catch up. With the right tools and the right training, we can really leap ahead. So who am I? I'm Crispin Reed. I am the founder of the Coders Guild, which is a hobby project that got out of control. My previous career was in software development, and I worked with some other software developers in creating the sort of training that we needed to get the next generation of software developers. And that's going back 10 years. The hobby project got out of control, as I said, and now we are a fully fledged training firm, and we operate mainly still in the technical, vocational training and things like software development and testing, but we also are trying to move that towards other SMEs. We do a lot with the UK government. We, as I said, the hobby project at the beginning, that actually became the level 4 software development apprenticeship that now exists. We do a lot of work with Skills England on creating and revising apprenticeships. I'm working on the DevOps standard right now, and I've also just finished work on a new standard for AI and automation. The Coders Guild, we operate in skills boot camps, in technical apprenticeships, and what we're doing as a company is trying to do training that is about core skills as much as it is about technical skills, because all of the things that we want our workforce to understand and know and be good at are actually more generalist skills about how to prioritize, how to communicate, how to give and receive feedback. So all of our training is actually done in that way. So with this technical training, but we're also making sure that everything is about reflection, a really powerful way of learning, peer-led learning, being able to give and receive feedback in a group setting. So while we do most of our stuff remote, it's all very much of a group learning experience. Now, as I said, we're trying to do more with SMEs. So whereas our background and our sort of our niche, if you like, is in this very technical specific training, but what we're doing more and more is trying to get the ways that technical teams work, particularly in startups, where you have a small team building software in a very efficient way. So it's all about, you know, the team dynamic and how you have a very highly effective team and working with digital products. And what we're doing now is moving more of that to the tech adjacent businesses and the non-tech SMEs to give them the powers of understanding digital tools and how they work, but also like agile practice and teamwork, getting businesses to and teams to understand things that like core concepts of technical teams, like quality as a shared responsibility, and automation and integration, and how these things all go together to create enormous benefits for efficiency and productivity. We have a model which we call the capability hub model, and what we do is we like our training to have immediate impact, immediate return on investment. So often we will partner with other organizations, maybe strategic consultancies, who will help understand the business needs and how training fits into those business goals. So we will work with, for example, consultancies that specialize in marketing or in growth hacking or on the more technical side. They might be doing agile transformation or testing or something like that. And then so we would work alongside those consultancies to build up capability within that team, using quite often by recruiting people in and using the apprenticeship funding to progress that. But we can also do it with what works particularly well is finding people already in that business who can be seconded into technical roles or into different roles, maybe into marketing or into operations, and give them the skills, again, core skills and generalist skills, as well as the technical tooling of the digital tools that really drives like the team and business success. And our ambitions really is now we deliver this across the UK very successfully, and now we are looking to bring this knowledge and understanding, this way of working, across the world. We're already we have emerging partnerships in Africa, in Europe, in South America as well, and so really we're looking for people who are in government who we could work with. We're looking for partners on the ground, for training providers who we can work with, or indeed enterprise level businesses who would like to do projects around this SME upskilling mission. The reason that one of the reasons really for wanting to take this worldwide is going back to that £94 billion that that the UK is looking to gain from a 1% or 1% improvement in efficiency. That's or another way to look at it is like a 5% increase to GDP if we got efficiency worked out for SMEs. Now in emerging economies, that's double or more, that we don't really even have the the figures to guess, but the guess is that would put 10% on GDP if we can get this efficiency into SMEs, and AI, automation, and digital tools give us those benefits. So that's a lot for me. I think I've gone under time, so hopefully that gives someone else a bit more time to a bit more space in their presentation. That QR code, there's also there's my contact details are there. I'll put my LinkedIn into the chat. There's also a downloadable version of the presentation I just gave with the stats, the figures, and also the citing of the resources for them. Thanks.
Marvellous. Thank you very much indeed. What an opening start this morning. Can I just ask, Crispin, are you using this modelling at all around the world in other countries? And if so, which countries at the moment?
So we are in discussion with with launching this model in Mauritius, and also in Chile and Switzerland.
And is there a particular model that you're actually implementing, or is it the same model just rolled out into other countries?
I think the benefit that we can have is to be working with partners and understanding what their needs are at a national level, at a city level, at an enterprise company level. So what we have is very adaptable to situations. So that capability hub model, we can help people or other companies, other countries develop that and get the success from it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much indeed. Do stick around. We will invite you back to answer some questions later. So thanks very much. And just for everybody online, we will be sharing a recording and all the presentations and any additional materials on the UK Skills Partnership website once SkillsFest has finished. So probably into next week it will appear live. Thanks very much indeed, Crispin. Really good to have you here. We're going to dive straight in though and catch Erica Farmer unawares, because it's her turn to speak, from QuantumRise Talent Group. So Erica, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody. Fantastic to be here. Erica Farmer from QuantumRise. I'm really pleased to be here today. So let's get straight into it, shall we? What are you guys hearing about AI right now? What are you guys hearing about AI right now? So are you hearing that AI is going to take your job? AI is going to displace some people out of the workforce? Or maybe you're hearing AI is not going to take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI might take your job. It's all very negative in terms of the narrative, in terms of what we're seeing on social media, what we're seeing on the news, what we're hearing in regards to what the negative consequences are about artificial intelligence. But this is the one that I like more than anything. AI is the worst it'll ever be right now. AI is the worst it will ever be right now. Just let that sink in. For me, that's really exciting, because what this means is innovation, opportunity, growth, options for people to upskill, to step into new careers, to learn new vocations, for example. And Crispin was just talking about boot camps and apprenticeships. And we've got this opportunity and more when it comes to skills of the future. My name's Erica Farmer. I'm an average Joe. I'm a co-founder, business director and professional speaker around artificial intelligence and future skills. And when I say average Joe, what I mean is I'm not a techie. I'm not a computer scientist. I don't know code. I don't know Java. I'm just really curious in regards to the opportunities and the individual dividend, i.e. the benefits individually, which artificial intelligence and future skills can bring us. And this is what we do. We work with clients to really engage their workforce and their people in regards to artificial intelligence and future skills. Typically, I get inquiries from clients where perhaps the chief tech officer or the information security officer of an organization has rolled out a large language model like Microsoft Copilot. And they've promised the board that everybody's going to be gaining efficiencies and productivity increases within 90 days. And then that doesn't happen. And that doesn't happen because people haven't been engaged in terms of their hearts and minds, and therefore their confidence and skills when it comes to using technology. And that's what we do at QuantumRise. We get people excited about using tech like AI through professional speaking and keynotes at conferences. We do a lot of practical hands-on workshop and training, and it's very agnostic in terms of sector or large language model. Because if you give people a framework and give them confidence in how to use artificial intelligence, they will find their element of how that works for them in their role or their personal life. We don't need to go training out different ways of using specific tasks. We need to get people confident and competent in things like prompting, things like critical thinking, skills like learning agility. How do I put down what I've always relied on in terms of skills? And how do I learn new skills and apply them in record time? And this is what I do. So, where are the opportunities for us to use artificial intelligence in our personal life and our professional life? Because if you get people embracing AI in their personal life, travel planning, research, reading, summarizing, things that they're really interested in, they're more likely to use that then and apply that in their professional life. But that's all great, but why aren't we all not using AI already? It's been around since 1957, believe it or not. And I know ChatGPT came to market through OpenAI in 2022. So we've had 3 years now of Microsoft talking about it, of OpenAI talking about it, Google. You know, you can't open your social media or the news these days without hearing about AI. I'm going to give you a brief lesson in how people respond to technological change throughout history. And in the UK, we used to have a game show called Blankety Blank, which was on a Saturday night. Blankety Blank, and there'd be a host, and the premise of it would be, I'm going to give you a phrase or some words on the screen, and I want you to guess the missing word. So as part of this exercise, you can either put it in the chat or you can write it down. What do you think the missing word is on the slides that I'm going to bring up right now? So in the early 20th century, educators believed that blank, so this is what I want you to guess the missing word as, would render our brains useless, unable to perform simple mental calculations. University professors were forming protests prophesying the fall of society as we know it. What do you think that missing word is? What could it be? Let's have a look. It's calculators. University professors were forming protests prophesying the fall of society because we started using technology to help us with arithmetic. Let's have a look at the next one. When the printing press was invented, there was a genuine fear that easy access to blank, what's the missing word, would make us lazy, undermine the church and corrupt the young. The printing press led to an explosion of knowledge and education, and blanks became a beloved source of wisdom. What do you think the missing word could be? Let's have a look. Books. Books. We had this reaction to calculators and books, and we also had it to PCs in the 70s, rudimentary robots in the 80s. We have a catastrophizing doomsday response to new technology, and it's called fear. And that's why it's so important to educate people and get them engaged when it comes to artificial intelligence. Because if you don't know enough about something, you tend to make it up. We make up a narrative in our own minds. But eventually, when we have more of a balanced outlook, when we understand things more and we're more confident and competent in using that technology, we fear less in regards to what we're doing. And this is our responsibility as well as the training, so the skills and the creativity. We need to give people time to engage and understand how they feel about AI. Part of that, for example, is storytelling. So I'm a massive Marvel geek, right? I love superheroes. I love all things sci-fi. So this is a metaphor that I use when I'm talking to clients about artificial intelligence and how to get their people on board. So this guy is called Tony Stark, right? This guy kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe, phase 1. This guy is Iron Man, right? But Tony Stark is a human being. He doesn't have any superpowers. He can't fly on his own. He can't shoot lasers out of his eyes like Superman can. but he is a billionaire playboy philanthropist. And what Tony Stark does in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you might have read the comics or seen the movies and the Avengers, he builds the Iron Man suit. He builds the infrastructure around him that allows him to go and fight the bad guys. But the Iron Man suit can't do anything unless they have Jarvis, which is the artificial intelligence. And Tony Stark needs all three elements, the human, the infrastructure, and the AI, to be able to bring Iron Man together. So when it comes to using artificial intelligence in these ways, there's lots of different ways that we can use it, but we need the person, we need the infrastructure, and then we need the artificial intelligence. So to align AI to tasks and different pieces in the flow of work, we need skills. We need learning and development. We can use AI for role play, for example, to help upskill people. We can develop strength and depth within skills by using AI for people to use AI. It's important that we put the human first in this stuff. We can then use it for things like critical thinking. So if you're making an interesting decision, ask your AI to play a devil's advocate. Think about alternative perspectives, role play what might happen on that decision. And then you've got your insight and analysis. What else can you use AI for to support people to use AI? Recommendations and research, internal marketing. So if you have an AI policy, for example, don't just stick it on SharePoint. Work with your LLM to be able to make it really sexy and exciting for people to engage with. And that's the Iron Man suit, the infrastructure, why that's so important. And then go to your artificial intelligence to get people to use it. Get it to think about what kind of language are you using? What does it mean in regards to if you're attracting people to your organization, or if you're developing skills, for example? How can you make that more attractive? And how can you develop artificial intelligence literacy in partnership with using your artificial intelligence? So you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. And just to go back to my analogy, this is why, as Tony Stark, he has to have the Iron Man suit as his infrastructure. So the training, the policy, the procedures, the use cases. And then we bring in the technology when people are ready to use it in a hands-on way, so they understand exactly how it feels to use these kind of tasks. Because using AI isn't just about writing emails or creating content. We're kind of over that. That's very superficial. We now have personal tutors and trainers to support each of us in a hyper-personalized way to develop our skill set and our mindset. And this is exactly our messaging that we use at QuantumRise. Now, do get in touch with me. We are currently working with clients in the Middle East, predominantly in the UK, and a little bit of work with clients like LinkedIn in America. Most of our work is virtual, and I do a lot of in-person speaking gigs as well. So we have the ability to get your people excited, to get your people confident and competent, and to really fill that fear gap that I talked about earlier. So your adoption and enablement with artificial intelligence, either that's your organization or clients that you're working with, can feel like they can really get stuck in and adopt the use of AI without the fear of guilt or shame, and with a really confident, proactive, safe and ethical response. And that's the key to what we do. So thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope that's been helpful. Do connect with me on LinkedIn, Erica Farmer. Do drop me an email. That's my information there. And there's the website, quantumrise.co.uk. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much indeed. I'm sure there will be people that will connect with you. So that's absolutely amazing. Thank you for your energy. Don't go away. I know you're going to come back for Q&A.
I'll be back later.
Probably be in a different location though. So this is the marvel of technology, you see. So thanks very much indeed, Erica. Really good to have you on board. QuantumRise, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. Next up is Carlos. He's from Upskill Universe. Carlos, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Good morning.
We are zipping through these presentations. Hello, Carlos.
Brilliant. Okay, good morning. So I'm Carlos, a bit more clean shaven on that picture. So I'm head of learning solutions at Upskill Universe. We're a learning consultancy. We work and have worked with some big clients over the last 10 years, including Google, Visa, Fujitsu as well, and a few others. And we recently published a white paper called The AI Skills Economy 2030, which is co-authored by me and our founder, Gori. So this paper draws on some of the most authoritative sources in the field. So that's the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report, PwC's AI Jobs Barometer, research from McKinsey on generative AI and the future of work, LinkedIn's Workplace Learning Reports, and Deloitte's Human Capital Trends. And these aren't just abstract predictions of what AI can do or not. They're grounded in billions of job postings, surveys of global employers, and actually the lived realities of workplaces worldwide. I also talk about some of case studies from organizations we worked and work with directly. And we've designed and delivered AI and digital skills programs for governments, enterprise and SMEs across Africa, Europe, and the UK, and some work with the US as well, including Walmart. And we've done quite a lot of work, and this is what we put in our white paper. So hopefully it helps some of you. So some of our conclusions is that AI is no longer a future disruptor. It's here, it's transforming industries and the way we live and work. So by 2030, up to 30% of work hours in advanced economies could be automated. And that means millions of workers, just think 30% of work hours, which is a massive figure. Millions of workers will need to transition into new, often higher skilled roles, because the lower skilled roles will be taken over by AI. So that's a massive gap. But it isn't just about automation, it's about opportunity as well. In the UK alone, 7.3 million of adults lack the essential digital skills required for work. So at the same time, 1/3 of skills shortage vacancies are due to a lack of digital capability. So clearly, there's a massive opportunity here. So urgent demand for digital talent and a workforce that's not yet prepared to take on that challenge. So this is why the conversation about skills is so critical. It can't happen tomorrow. It needs to happen right now. Another thing we found and talked about in this white paper is that we've sort of hit a tipping point. So skills have overtaken jobs as a true currency of the economy. So employers no longer just ask, what role do you have? They ask, what skills do you bring to the company? Our research shows that for AI-exposed roles, skill requirements are evolving 66% faster than for other jobs. So this means today's skill set may only last 2 or 3 years before needing renewal, which is a massive change and just shows how fast things are going. So one of the case studies we explore is Nigeria's 3 Million Technical Talent, or 3MTT program, a program I was personally involved with in delivering, and it's ongoing actually. Launched in 2023, the aim was to train 3 million Nigerians in AI, data science, machine learning, cybersecurity, coding, on other digital skills by 2027. And the first phase trained 30,000 fellows across all the 36 states in Nigeria, which I can tell you from doing this work was a massive achievement, because internet reliability is not incredible across all of the 36 states of Nigeria. And the next phase will scale to hundreds of thousands. And I think the lesson here is that with the right ambition, countries can turn a skills gap into a global competitive advantage. As part of the research, we identified 3 pillars of priority skills, the skills most missing. So the first one would be AI and data fluency. So this isn't about turning everyone into a data scientist, it's about ensuring that every employee, whether they're in HR, marketing, finance, or operations, can ask better questions, interpret dashboards, and use AI responsibly in their day-to-day work. Second, adaptability and critical thinking, which is not an AI skill, it's just a human skill, and more about that later. So with skills churn accelerating, it's the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn that keeps people relevant. So these are the skills that allow us to pivot, problem solve, and thrive during disruption. So adaptability and critical thinking. And finally, human leadership and inclusion. At a time when technology is everywhere, people want leaders who can build trust, drive inclusion, and inspire. So by 2027, nearly half of all worker skills will be disrupted. So organizations need to anchor their learning strategies around these pillars, and if they want to stay competitive. Speaking of humans and AI, there's a phrase I like to use: AI won't replace people, but people using AI will replace those who don't. One of the examples we highlight in the paper is AstraZeneca. So they've scaled their generative AI training across more than 12,000 employees with the aim of getting it to all 30,000 employees. So they didn't treat this as a tech rollout. Just because it's AI doesn't mean it's a tech skill. It's an every person skill. So instead, they built timeless, tool-agnostic learning designed for non-technical users. They blended self-paced and live sessions, created dialogue and reflection spaces so people could talk to their peers about what they've learned, and introduced the bronze to gold learning levels to gamify progress. In doing this, they reframed AI as a mindset shift, not just a technology adoption. So that's what the future looks like. So that's humans setting the direction, and then AI scaling capacity. AI will not replace, but augment. And organizations that get this right will have a huge, huge competitive advantage. Another change is that forward-thinking organizations are moving from roles-based to a skills-based design. So that means they're moving away from very rigid job descriptions towards dynamic skill profiles that flex as business needs evolve. So the benefits are clear. You have agility, better use of talent, faster internal mobility. It's also a way to deal with shortages, because rather than saying, for example, we can't hire for this role, they can ask themselves, what skills do you already have, and how can we redeploy those skills within the organization? So skills are changing really fast. Since 2015, the skill sets for jobs have already shifted by 25%. So that's all within our lifetime, certainly, and for most of us on this call, probably within our career. And by 27, that number is expected to double. So the organizations that embrace skills-based models will be the ones that adapt, redeploy, and thrive in this AI economy. Amid all this talk of automation, we need to remember the human is still the most important part in the business. So in Deloitte's Global Human Capital Trends report, it talks about human sustainability, and that's about creating value for people through employability, well-being, and inclusion as the new performance measure. So if you think about it, machines can process data faster than we can, but it's humans who empathize with customers, imagine new products, collaborate across cultures. So creativity, empathy, and problem solving aren't just nice to haves, or as some HR departments sometimes unfortunately call them soft skills. They're economic differentiators. So creativity, empathy, and problem solving. So then the question becomes, how do we double down on those human skills while ensuring that AI frees up time and the capacity to use those skills? So as we kind of get to the end of our time, these are some recommendations from the white paper. So one is to adopt the skills-first strategy. So put skills, not roles, at the heart of workforce planning. So skills rather than just having the job titles in an org chart. Invest in AI and data fluency for all employees, not just technical teams. So every employee should have a baseline AI literacy. So that includes all the things I've talked about earlier. 3, build a human and AI collaboration models. So you have people setting the direction and then AI executing that direction. So if you think about it, humans should be seen as strategists and supervisors, not as task doers. And 4, prioritize inclusion, because if we don't bring everyone along, then the digital divide will deepen even more. And we talked already about how lacking people around the world are in digital skills, even in advanced economies like the UK. So these 4 aren't just abstract recommendations. They're steps that can be taken tomorrow to prepare your workforce for the economy we know is coming. So what does this mean for your organization? So if you take nothing else from this presentation, I'd invite you to reflect on one question. So what's one action you could take tomorrow to prepare your workforce for AI? So for some of you, it might be as simple as running a skills audit. For others, it might be piloting an AI training program, or maybe rethinking hiring practices around skills instead of degrees. The 3MTT program in Nigeria shows what's possible at national scale. AstraZeneca program shows it's possible at an enterprise scale. So the opportunity is right there, but it will only be there if we act on it, as everything. And finally, at Upskill Universe, we're proud to partner with governments and enterprises worldwide to deliver AI, cloud, and digital skills program. If you'd like to go deeper on these topics I talked about, I invite you to download our white paper, the AI Skills Economy 2030. Inside, you'll find practical insights, case studies, and strategies you can apply directly to your own workforce. The QR code on screen will take you straight to the download page. And of course, I'd love to continue the conversation with you after the session. Just look me up, Carlos Ferrao. I know the name is a bit difficult to spell, but it's right on the first slide. So look me up on LinkedIn, download the white paper, have a read, and if you have any questions, just let's talk, and we can certainly talk about all these wonderful tools that AI could be doing for your company. And yeah, and even if you don't do any of those things, please act now, because the skills economy isn't just coming; it's already here. And if you don't act right now, then it will probably be too late. And thank you very much for listening.
Carlos, thank you so much indeed. What a whirlwind tour there, but also really interesting report on skills around artificial intelligence. Carlos, in addition to skills relating to AI, are you hearing, as part of your research and work, around other skills that are required on the global stage that they expect employees to have, whether they're new entrants into the job market or transitioning from one job to another?
Yeah, I did touch about slightly on them. So adaptability and critical thinking. So that means it's a very hard skill to quantify, but that's the ability to examine your own experience and things you've learned, and the skills you've learned, and say, are they still useful in this AI world? And then having the adaptability to be able to let go of them. For example, let's say if you're really good at some kind of data analysis, and you just might find that an AI tool can do what you do 100 times faster. Just the ability to go, oh, that's fine, I'll move on to something else, instead of trying to desperately grab onto that skill, which is now becoming very quickly obsolete. And that goes together with leadership, which can only really come from humans, to be able to have a workforce that feels safe to go through this transition, and a workforce that's able to talk to their manager and say, look, you hired me to do these 20 things. I've been able to automate 10 things, and here's let's work together to find the other 10 things I can now add to my work. This doesn't mean I'm obsolete. This means I'm incredibly more efficient now, and I'm worth much more to this company because I've been able to automate these skills. So these are all things which is very hard. I mean, you can't go on ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to do this for you. You have to do this work yourself. Although ChatGPT is a wonderful learning partner, and LLMs are wonderful learning partners, they cannot change humans in this fashion. So you need to have the ability to examine what you do, examine what AI is taking over, and then be able to plot the way forward for yourself.
Thank you. I have one more question. So in Europe, there is a big piece of work that's been going on for the last 3 or 4 years, which is called deep tech talents. So what they do in Europe, they class, if you take something like AI and you bolt it to another couple of emerging technologies to create a new type of technology, they call that deep tech, that process. Is the research and the work that you're doing kind of hinting at some of that as well? Does it set out the fact that actually, AI is one technology, but how do you then couple that with other technologies to progress something else down another avenue?
Yes, absolutely. I think the public has been exposed to, I would say, a version of AI that's pretty much the baseline of AI usage, which is, help me write an email, generate an image, and so on and so forth. But we'll be seeing where we are already seeing a lot of companies looking at very deeply at all the tasks that they do in their company as part of their roles and automating those. So that leaves the space to then strategize and create new products or new automations that hint at things which, all right, in other words, we're looking at things we already do and seeing how AI can do them. And I think the next step is to look at the things which humans could not do in any circumstance, but AI can do it and find ways to get there. So that requires a lot of visionary thinking, which is a human skill.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Carlos, really, really interesting piece of work and role that you have. And I think, organizations on the global stage could do well to partner with you and to work with you closely. So thanks very much for showcasing that. Just a reminder to everybody that all the recordings with all the PDF copies of presentations and additional materials will all be made available once SkillsFest closes at the end of the week. So over the weekend, that'll all be uploaded onto the UK Skills Partnership website. But before then, we are no way done this morning. We have Gateway Qualifications and Paul Saunders coming up next, and he's going to co-present actually with Lindsey from the Code Institute. So good morning to you both. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We can see your presentation.
Good morning, everybody. Lovely to be with you. I'm Paul. I'm the Commercial Director at Gateway Qualifications. So who is Gateway Qualifications? So a little bit, a quick overview of what we do and why we're here today. So we're an awarding organisation based in the United Kingdom. We've been around for over 30 years and we have a lot of expertise in developing a huge range of regulated qualifications and other services to support education and skills development. And I really love that previous mention by Carlos about skills. That's really the important thing here. Obviously, we focus on creating that high quality qualification experience, which is accessible for everybody, and a real commitment around service. But today I'm really delighted to be joined by Lindsey from Code Institute, and you'll hear how the story develops in a minute. Code Institute are one of our delivery partners, one of our recognised training delivery partners that operate in the United Kingdom, but they also operate at scale internationally, and you'll see later on where that links through. So a little bit about some of the sectors we cover and how we're regulated in the United Kingdom. As you can see, we have a broad range of qualifications regulated by Ofqual, which is the English regulator, Qualification Wales, and also the Quality Assurance Agency as well. So we are a generous awarding organisation. But one thing we've really developed on is an expertise in digital skills. And that's really where I want to focus more on today, is to talk a little bit more about our digital skills and our digital skills offer and what actually Code Institute deliver on our behalf. This is a slide that I've used, and actually, believe it or not, interestingly, some of the data that Carlos used earlier, which syncs up with some of this. It really talks about the global challenge that we have as an economy regarding tech shortage, regarding skills. So this is a 2018 slide, believe it or not, but still very relevant to talk about now. So it's a problem in the UK, it's a problem in Europe, and it's a problem right across the world. And so skills is one of those key ways of addressing that challenge. So we worked extensively with Code Institute as part of that work to address that skills challenge. How we approached that in 2020 was actually we developed a range of regulated qualifications that attracted public funding in England, Wales, and other places that you'll see had a laddered approach, right from everybody who needed the very basic digital skills to engage in today's society, right through to those technical and advanced skills, and some of the things we've already talked about earlier on today, which included data analytics, AI, software development, and web application development. So part of our work in developing this response was we worked very closely with Lee and the team from Code Institute. They delivered a very, very good high quality range of products that supported coding development, software development, and we use a lot of their expertise to develop our regulated qualification offer, particularly at level 5 in the web application development, and also now more recently in data analytics and AI, as well as software development. So Code Institute, which I'm now going to bring in a minute, and I'll invite Lee to speak, are an industry-leading training provider. They're one of our delivery partners that operate in the UK and overseas, and they provide high-quality content on a great platform, and actually is aligned to a range of our qualifications. So I'm going to pass across Lee now to sort of continue more about the story.
Morning, everyone, and thank you very, very much, Paul, for the introduction and the invitation. My name is Lee Lindsey. I'm a partnerships manager here at Code Institute, and I'm very pleased to be able to be here and tell you a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and how we work and have worked with Paul and the team at Gateway Qualifications to address the digital skills gap. Just a little background on us. So we are an Irish education and technology company, and our primary focus is on helping adult learners either change careers or gain skills for advancement with tech in the workforce. Now, historically, as the company name suggests, we've had a strong focus on software development. AI, I've seen from the earlier presentations, it is a rampant theme. The rise of AI has prompted us to diversify our training offer. Our training offer has now been expanded to include data analysis and artificial intelligence. But our heritage is actually in the classroom. We started teaching here in Dublin back in 2015, brick and mortar, face-to-face with learners, learning on a full-time basis, 40 hours a week for 3 months. But for our target learner, the adult career changer, learning full-time in this context presents many challenges, especially if you consider people who are trying to balance work and family commitments. We very quickly learned that flexibility is paramount. And when I joined Code Institute 8 years ago, we had not long launched the first version of our online learning platform. And for us, online learning was a complete game changer. Online learning now meant that our learners could study flexibly, and they could fit their studies around their busy work and family lives, while still getting absolutely everything they needed from a high-quality online course. In fact, the success of this flexible model gave us a real light bulb moment as an organization. We thought, okay, if the flexibility frees things up for learners, what potential does it have for other providers and partners? And you'll see on the right-hand side some of the partners that we work with internationally. Our partnerships with government, with academia, with industry is where we've achieved real international success and growth. And we've served learners from all over Europe and further afield. And I'm aware we have a large international audience here today. I'd be very keen, I will reshare my details at the end of this short introduction for you to get in touch, and we can talk about the lay of the land wherever you are in the world and potential ways that ourselves, Gateway Qualifications, and you can work together. But firstly, on the next slide, I would love to tell you a little bit more about the background and foundation of how ourselves and our friends at Gateway Qualifications began working to solve the global skills gap. When we first came up with the strategy really around the partner model and growing through partnerships and building partnerships for success, we brought the platform to England initially. And we showed it, well, I showed it to potential partner colleges, universities, local government authorities. And our platform has always been incredibly well received for its ease of use, the learning design. And we work so closely with industry. Our courseware is always tailored around industry requirements, meaning that our learners gain industry relevant skills. So all that went across really well. But there was one significant barrier, and that's the financial barrier. And that is so common in almost any country in the world. Access to finance to enable the training is usually a huge hurdle. In England, learners typically avail of government-funded instruments to access education and training. And back then, our courses did not directly align with any qualifications that enabled that funding. Now, we spoke with several awarding organizations, but one of them, Gateway Qualifications, stood out for their vision and ambition. You'll have seen the portfolio from the ground up that Paul highlighted that Gateway Qualifications offer as part of their digital ladder. We serve specific elements of that, but they go beyond that in terms of level 1 all the way through to level 5. And it was through Gateway Qualifications that we brought something that I see as being quite unique to the market in the form of a qualification and course package in the level 5 diploma in web application development. That level 5 diploma conveys skills in full stack development, which was and is one of the highest growth tech roles in the whole world. We launched that in 2021 and have successfully delivered the program through partnerships around England in a network of 25 colleges and training providers. But along the way with that growth, I think one of the areas where ourselves and Gateway Qualifications shine is in our responsiveness to market shifts and changes in need. If you look at the right-hand side, you will see some of the qualifications that Paul highlighted a little earlier in the form of the level 5 diploma, the diploma at level 4, the professional certificate at level 4, an award at level 4, and then an entry-level diploma to software development at level 3. Alongside that, you will see the learner profiles. So we want to enable learners to facilitate career change. If they want to become a software developer, they can take the level 5 diploma. If they want to become a data scientist, they can take the diploma in data analytics with AI. Outside of career changers, the world of work is changing. We've heard in the earlier presentations talk about the need for skills with AI. We recognize that need. We've recognized that need with our colleagues at Gateway, which is why we have brought these offers for upskillers. People who are in work but want to enhance their capabilities for career growth or to become more high functioning in their existing role. That's why we have the professional certificate in data analytics with AI and the award program. Then alongside that, we also recognize the strong need to give those a little further, perhaps from the workforce, their entry point into digital. The level 3 diploma in software development conveys a broad base of skills to learners, everything from coding to digital project management, software testing, and robotics. Learners use that as a platform for further specialization and advancement, usually in the form of more advanced training before engaging with the workforce. For me, the real magic of the partnership is what I see ourselves and Gateway Qualifications provide both learners and partners with a passport to success. Ourselves at Code Institute, we have the learning platform, we have the industry relevant content, we enable the flexible skills acquisition. Gateway Qualifications, with their regulated diplomas, certificates, and awards, enable learners to access funding that enables the training in the first place. But those qualifications also help learners post-program, when learners have to navigate the job market and encounter non-technical stakeholders that have no idea how to assess their technical capabilities. The qualifications help them secure the interview for progression. And for partners and providers, shared expertise of both our organizations can help unlock growth in their markets. And we'll see on the very next slide just how we've made that growth happen internationally. The formula really is not unique to England. You'll see the title here is Qualifications Cross Borders. Gateway Qualifications, as a regulated awarding organization under the auspices of Ofqual, their qualifications have international relevance. Credit and recognition crosses borders internationally. Outside of the success we built and developed in England, we've successfully brought the programs to other countries, including Wales, Ireland, and Sweden. And along the way, where needed, Gateway Qualifications have liaised with the relevant awarding authorities or higher education bodies to validate the qualifications in those regions. As an example, this was done with Qualifications in Wales, or QIW, and also with UHR, who are the higher education authority in Sweden. Sweden, in fact, I think is a great example. In Sweden, we've had significant success through a partnership developed with a non-governmental organization based locally there. In fact, I think that dynamic might embody how perhaps we could work with many of our guests and watchers here today. Through collaboration with the non-governmental organization, or NGO, which is quicker to say, we identified a relevant funding instrument locally within Sweden to enable the training. Alongside Gateway Qualifications, we then had the qualification aims approved with the Higher Education Authority. The local partner that now refers learners through to us for enrolment and training. We complete the training and the assessment, Gateway Qualifications certify them, and the learners have a pathway into the workforce. Similarly, here in Ireland, the Level 3 programme I mentioned, that has been extensively delivered through a network of vocational training providers here, primarily to those who are unemployed, seeking work, and needing qualifications and credentials for progression. The next slide goes into some detail on our learning platform, but I don't think we have time to go into that in detail. What I would suggest is when I share my details at the very end, if any of you, in fact, if any of my fellow speakers would even like a walkthrough of it, I'd be very happy to take a 20 to 30 minute slot and walk you through the experience from end to end. So just hit me with an email or a ping on LinkedIn and we can set something up to go through that. Just as a high level, in terms of, we have multiple ways of working with partners. So we work with local government, we work with colleges, we work with universities, we work with employers in terms of upskilling. So regardless of what your context is, here I would suggest really the first step is to have an initial conversation with myself. I'd like to find out about where you are in the world, what education frameworks are in play there, whether things that we currently have on offer, like on the table between ourselves and Gateway Qualifications, might be a fit. And even if there isn't something there, it might be feasible for us actually to structure and implement something to meet that need. So we identify the types of training that are relevant, and then we look at the funding models. Sometimes government funding is available, sometimes employer funding is available, and in some contexts, self-funding is also done. Then it's simply a case of managing who delivers training. In most cases, that is us, Code Institute. It really is the easiest way to get up and running. We enroll the learners, we deliver the training, we look after all of the progression post-program. Gateway Qualifications look after the quality assurance and the certification. As an alternative, if you have a strong academic team and the capability to deliver, we can enable you to use our platform and our technology and our courseware to deliver to learners, and that is another route to go. I really would love to have a conversation with any of you who are interested to find out about the options. My details are available on the next slide, but I will paste them into the chat because I'm going to pass back to Paul and they will disappear very quickly. But thank you for having me this morning. It's been lovely to speak with you, and I hope to speak with you again soon.
Thank you, Lee. So just to conclude, the qualification offer we were talking about in collaboration with Code Institute is on your screen now. So there's the qualifications, 2 qualifications level 3, 4 at level 4 and 1 at level 5. So if you're interested about finding out how they can support your country, your learners, your employers, your employees, to support those big skill challenges we've seen globally, don't hesitate to reach out either to Lee or myself. So if you need to reach out to me, there are all my contact details. Scan that QR code, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to help you. And there you'll see our organisation's generic contact details if you want to find out a little bit more about Gateway Qualifications. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Paul and Lee. I have a question, though, before you run away. As lovely as it is, you've got a wide range of qualifications there. Some are regulated, and obviously you talked about, working in the non-regulated space as well. The one bit that didn't quite come through, so you do all these things in terms of upskilling and cross-skilling and reskilling, and giving people the skills they need to get on with their lives and jobs. But what's the actual impact for employers as a business? So the return on investment, if you like, have you got any information around that return on investment? And also for the individual, so is there a kind of knock-on effect? What does it do for their lives? So are you able to kind of set that out? Because some of our audience will want to know, it's great using UK qualifications, but what does that do for me? And I always ask the so what question, and I think it's just it's a great thing if people can understand that benefit.
Yeah, Lee, have you got any comments on that from the work you've done in some of the overseas?
Well, straight away, I would suggest the impact for industry first and foremost is with our scale and through career changers, we automatically give them more talent to be able to recruit to their teams. Also, by virtue of having courses that can be flexibly delivered and qualifications that can potentially enable funding to be available, employers can have their staff's capabilities easily and flexibly upskilled, and usually in a very cost-effective way as well, because of the qualifications associated with training. And digital is a priority. Digital is an international priority across all of Europe, and there's various funding mechanisms, whether you're in Ireland, whether you're in England, whether you're in Sweden, Holland, Austria, Germany. So I think really if you come back to what is the benefit for business, Jonathan, it is we deepen their capability to add to their workforce, and then for existing staff, we make it much easier for them to enhance and upgrade their skills through the qualifications and flexible delivery.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. I guess part of my question is aimed at the financial side. So, it's all very well having upskilling and, creating competent workforce and all that. But what does that actually mean? Because businesses talk finance and they want to know what financial impact it has on their business. So have you done any work around the return on investment and actually delivering these skills as saved, X money in a company, or, has created X efficiencies, or meant that they can grow their business in a particular way, or anything like that? Because that's the kind of chain effect that audiences always want to know about, is how does that actually translate into business benefit in that way?
Yeah, Jonathan, that is a question for one of my colleagues. I can get the answer for you, but I don't have it off the top of my head.
There is something I can add to that, Jonathan, regarding in the UK. So another organisation we're supporting at the moment is an organisation called Future.now, and they're all talking about the key digital skills that are required in the UK by employers. And there's quite a few reports they've done which proves the productivity and the bottom line returns if you have a skilled workforce. You have the basic core skills. So we're not talking about some of these advanced skills that Lee and the team deliver on our behalf through a qualification framework. These are the core skills, and actually, on average, it's between £500 and £600 per annum bottom line profit that you'll bring in per employee to an average business across the UK. So that's just some quantifiable data that I can quote with some confidence.
Okay, brilliant, lovely, fantastic. Thank you both very much indeed. Insightful presentation, covering quite a lot of ground there around AI coding and the like, and really, the big theme of today's presentation. So really thanks to you both. We are going to move on though. We've got Kavitha Ravindran. She is from Sainaptic. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. I know you've been waiting patiently, so thank you for that. And we are looking forward to hearing your presentation. So are you okay with uploading it?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Good morning to everyone. And I think this is really well placed in the series for the morning. So I'm quite impressed with that. So thank you. So I'm just going to share screen and... Good morning, I'm co-founder of Sainaptic. We are an AI company reinventing workforce certification. Our vision is to get more skilled professionals into the future workforce. So what we are seeing today is that skills are evolving. We have heard that through all the talks earlier from today, and they're evolving at a very, very, very fast pace. And in fact, a recent research shows that the top skills for an average UK job, a third of them have already changed since 2021. And that's already an incredible fast pace of change. And it's just not in one sector, right? We can see this in the UK, we can see this across the globe. It's in the emerging sectors as well, in AI, green technologies, manufacturing. And it's just not the skills. We can see that the entire occupation themselves changing. So with this workforce shifting so fast, the question really is, how are we going to make sure that our qualifications and assessment keep up with the pace? Because if we don't, we risk our learners falling behind, and we risk our employers not finding the talent that they need. So how can we actually do this? So when assessments, where you have your awarding organizations and training providers focused on the new qualifications and the resources for these, that's where Sainaptic comes in to take care of the assessment element of it. So our AI makes sure that the marking and the feedback is faster, is more scalable, is more consistent. So the skill certification can be completed much more effectively. So the end of it, it is the assessment that makes sure that the new skills that are emerging are translated into effective certifications and more trusted qualifications. And when assessments are smarter, the benefits is really felt across the entire sector. So for learners, the timely personalized feedback, it improves their confidence. It allows them to progress through the qualifications at a much better pace. For providers, the reduced marking workload, it enables them to scale delivery with ease. And for employers, it puts trust in the system. So when the assessment process is reliable, the employers would have more trust that the skills that they require is what they are going to get from the learners. So the impact of smarter assessment is just not faster marking, it is actually stronger outcomes for all stakeholders involved in the skills system. And we're already seeing this with our clients, who can be training providers, awarding bodies, or professional bodies issuing certifications, where learners, they're already seeing an improved pass rates by up to 50%, even on multimedia assessment. And I'll talk a bit more about multimedia assessment when I talk about how the AI itself works. Providers, our clients who are providers, are already benefiting from the accuracy of the AI, which is deployed at less than 1% deviation from human assessors. And now what that means is, for human assessors, there is an accepted marking range. And that's the level of accuracy which Sainaptic's AI marks at deployment. And now all of that then saves the grading time of up to 85%, which is feedback that we have heard from our clients. And this process, this accuracy and efficiency of assessment improves trust in the certification, which is what we are hearing from the employers. So how does this work in practice? So we work very closely with the client, and we are not a ChatGPT wrapper. We're not just using an OpenAI LLM. And that's how we enable that high level of accuracy at deployment. So we work very closely with the client data set, your question bank, your marking rubrics, your any other resources that the client might have. The first step, of course, is to make that data AI ready to transcribe and standardize it. The second, the crucial bit, is to train the AI model, and emphasis heavily on the human in the loop. So we would train the AI model on what data we have, and a few years back, the marked answer, sample answers that we would need would have been in hundreds, but today it is a very small data. Even in tens is enough. We need maybe up to 30 or 40 sample answers of student answers, and that's enough to get that accuracy that is required. Moderation happens with the human in the loop before even deploying. A note on the feedback also is that it is just not the score, because quite often a pass or a fail or a score is just not enough, and for the learner or for an assessor or a tutor. So it is a qualitative feedback as well. And we are able to train that AI model to give that feedback as to what the client wants. And I will show you a few examples of that in a minute as well. And once the AI model has been trained, the final bit is the integration, and that we integrate via a simple API, or if you don't have a digital environment, then we would build in an app, deploy it as a white labeled app for you so that you can access the automation engine. Now, the potential is quite vast. So we started off 3 years back with only short answer automation, but today, it's literally everything, as we can see. So any text-based, so it could be a short answer, a long answer essay. When I say text-based, it can be a Word document, a PDF, a PowerPoint in any format. Images, we have recently won a UFI WorkTech grant to automate the marking and feedback for image and video submissions as well. Audio submissions, we know it can be quite easily done, but we have also extended the tech capability to automate the marking of calculation submissions, which is very relevant to the financial sector. So you can use our AI for all automations of literally anything. And then you can also use our AI to standardize the QA, the quality, to assure the quality of across the markers and assessors. So we have clients who are spending a lot of time and money on the standardization process. But if the AI can be used, that is going to improve that process and save a lot of time and money. And something that is very relevant to the skills is the apprenticeship, where you have evidence submitted in any format. And we have human assessors who have to go through that evidence and to check whether it meets the criteria or statements for that require standards. We can now train our AI model to extract competencies from that submission and to provide feedback either to the assessor or to the learners directly to say whether they have met the required statements or criteria and how well they have been met. Has there been any other statements, criteria met within that submission? So all of that feedback can be given instantly by the AI to improve the learner submission, to inform the assessor of that insight so that they can help the learners more effectively. So that's like the potential of how the AI model can be used across different factors. So here is an example. So this is a client who is in the financial sector. And here it is an example where Sainaptic's AI model has been trained to evaluate a case study submission. So this would have essentially been, you have a question brief and then you have some extracts of PDF where the learner has to go through that PDF and to evaluate it, and that would be the answer. So the AI has been trained completely on what the client required. What the feedback that you see over here is how the client wanted it to make sure that the learner exactly knows where they have made a mistake and how they can improve that for the actual exam. The highlighted answer shows where that is correct and where the score has been awarded. And when you hover around that, the AI has been trained to give that feedback on what has been identified correctly and how that can be improved. And there's one more example here that I can show of reviewing NDAs. So now this is for a client that is it's actually a legal AI company. And what they do is they review NDAs and all these legal documents fairly quickly. And for them, where they are using AI is to evaluate how well is a paralegal doing the job. And the AI model has been trained, as you can see over here, on a PDF. So the scenario would be where a document has been downloaded, the paralegal has made their annotations. So all the scratches that you can see is what the paralegal over there has made the scratch, and they have typed in what should be the correct wording on that particular NDA document. And the AI has evaluated whether the crossed out information is correct and the added information is correct. Score has been awarded accordingly, and the feedback has been provided based on how the answer has been marked over here. So the training of the model is very bespoke to the requirement of the client, and the training is quite vast, as we can see here. So that's what I have to share. And so as skills evolve, we ensure that assessment keeps pace, whether in whatever format it is. We can make sure that that assessment process is as efficient as it needs to be, cost effective, saving time and improving the process. So we would love to partner with you to make this process much more faster, fairer, and future ready. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much indeed. I had no idea that Sainaptic had developed these kind of tools to really push on the assessment process and enable providers to kind of do more, be more, as well as, you know, enabling teachers to be better equipped to cope with, you know, more competence-based scenarios and to do those assessments and to automate some of it. So really great work, you know, with developing new provider networks in country and the rollout of programs, and particularly kind of reaching out to the hard to reach places within a country as well, because of course, you know, most people are very geographically spread and diverse across a nation. So I can really see how this tool would help them to reach out further across those kind of margins of their country. So really fantastic work and great to see. I also see a potential, of course, for UK organisations to be thinking about how they can better use these kind of tools to enable their own delivery within the UK as well. So I hope that people will look at your offer and think, hey, this is something that can really boost our business, and get in touch with you. So well done indeed, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jonathan. Just a quick note on that. So yes, we are of course UK based, and we work with UK awarding organizations and training providers and professional bodies. We also work with organizations, and we have some partnerships in Malaysia, Singapore, and the Southeast Asia region, but also with LATAM. So yes, we're already global, but definitely looking for more collaborations and partnerships across the globe. So yes, so thank you for that.
Amazing. Thank you, Kavitha.
Thank you very much.
Don't run away. You will be asked some questions later, so do come back.
Perfect. Yes, will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Moving on, though, we have Pete Fullard now from Upskill People. Pete, a very good morning. Lovely to have you on board.
Good morning to you, and good morning to everybody that's joining us. As Jonathan said, I'm Pete Fullard, I'm CEO of Upskill People, and today we're going to talk about people management skills. So first of all, let me set your expectations. I'm going to be covering three things: a different approach to developing great managers, how to measure the impact, and some free useful stuff for you to get hold of as we go through. But we only have 15 minutes, so let's get started. Going back a few years, we asked a lot of our clients, what is the most important skill within your organisation? How do you measure that your team have got that skill, and what isn't working at the moment? And the answers were very, very consistent. Absolute top was the ability to be really good with people, great people managers. They were struggling with measurement of how that skill was being developed and also how it was being measured, and so they were only really using subjective feedback or the fact that somebody had actually been on a course, just ticking the box. And so they said what wasn't working is we're not seeing behavior change in our managers. They were saying lots of other things to us. Return on investment, we were looking at the impact, what was actually changing. And as ever, there's less time and less money. So we thought we'd better sit down and see if we could come up with a better way of doing things that also was able to blend with what our current clients were doing, as most of those clients were doing something, but clearly it wasn't having behavior change. One of the most common things we heard was when our team come back off a program and we asked them what they thought, they generally said it was a great program, we learned lots of things. But the reality was when we said to them, what are you going to do differently today? The most common comment was, well, the course isn't like real life. So we sat down and we thought we'd better create something that is like real life. And we came up with managing people. So our start point was we sat down with some TV script writers and we said, write us a very realistic drama series that covers all of those stories that lots of us will have encountered in our careers and all the ways we might deal with them and what the best ones would be. So managing people is self-paced. It means you can do it at your own time whenever you want, and it's an interactive online drama. You play a part in that drama series. There's 7 separate courses or episodes, and wrapped around those are 8 assessments, and we do 2,100 data point checks so we can measure the impact that the courses are having. It takes approximately 11 hours, which is the equivalent of about 3.5 days if you're going to a classroom session. As I said, it's designed to work standalone, but it's fabulous when it's blended in with other elements, which we'll come on to later. So this is how the courses are structured. If we zoom in on that central part, here's all the titles. Each episode covers a storyline. It doesn't cover communication skills or adapting to change. That's throughout all of them. So preparation is about planning, a little bit of upward management. Then we've got well-being, recruitment, bias, questioning skills, induction, bringing people on board and delivering on the promise that was made for the culture and the company. Coaching and performance, how to really support people and also deal with situations where people aren't performing as well as they might. Appraisals or check-ins, whether you do them once a week or once a year, and how to make sure that that's fair and consistent. And then finally, managing all those superstars that are in any organisation, recognising them, developing them and supporting them. And as you can see at the top, we have all of the assessments that accompany each of the courses. That's that 2,100 data points where we measure what people are actually changing in the way they behave in particular situations. Down below, you can see it's designed to blend with lots of other things. They might be briefings, just general get-togethers, personality profiling like Myers-Briggs or Insights or DISC or Belbin, if anybody uses those. And actually for Belbin, DISC and Insights Discovery, all of the characters in the series are mapped to their profile. So it's a great way to support the implementation of those. Group discussions, get-together, sharing ideas, also very powerful events. Any additional materials, such as those from organisations like the Institute of Leadership who endorse the programme. And finally, coaching or mentoring. So it slots in with whatever's there to enhance or maybe optimise some of those things and achieve more in less time. So meet the team. This is the team. The lady in the centre is Charlotte. That's the role that you play in the drama. You can see her wonderful team there, all with their own particular personalities, challenges, opportunities, all need supporting every day. And the guy one in from the right, Tony in the blue shirt, he's your manager. And he's not really a very good manager. So we included into the programme the fact that there's a degree of upward management all good managers have to do. As you can probably see, they're set in a virtual deli, coffee shop, restaurant, and we picked that environment because it's something that everybody knows. But the course has been used at the moment. We've got it being used in shipping, software development, hospitality, NHS and healthcare, a whole range. And at the moment, we've got pilots going from Singapore, or cohorts rather, going from Singapore, Sri Lanka, India, the Middle East, Europe, and over in New York and in the States. So although it's setting a particular hospitality environment, people skills are people skills. It works on any device. It's very video based. It's interactive. They're not avatars, they're real actors. And we spend a couple of years scripting and shooting. And as I say, at every point in the drama, it pauses and you have to make your decision. And that's how you get your feedback. You're learning in a very safe environment where you can try new things and new approaches out. So on to a phrase which I certainly hear a lot: what gets measured gets done. And that's from the boardroom down. We're all creatures that if we're targeted or measured on something, that tends to be the thing we're going to focus on. So what was very important when we were developing the program, it had to have an ability to measure what was being achieved. Now, that's really difficult. Measurement of something where we're driving a sales skill through training or another very tangible measure is very easy. But what clients were telling us is that surveys or happy sheets, as some of you involved in training might be recognised, are just not good enough. Surveys depend on how people are feeling. 360 feedback is another mechanism that's often used, and it's a very powerful tool. but it is very subjective, and also it varies. It takes a lot of time to gather. So clients said to us, we want something that's consistent, and whether my cohort is in different parts of the world, we want them to have a consistent measure. So what we then needed to do was we had to decide what a good manager looks like. So we did a research project and worked with quite a lot of clients and other organizations, and we came up with 69 behaviors of a really good people manager, and we grouped them together into 7 competencies. And I did promise you some free things. If you're interested in the list of those 69 behaviors and 7 competencies, you maybe want to compare them against what you've got, you can either use the link below, or if your phone's to hand, then the QR code should take you there and you can download the full list. We've put thousands of managers through the program over the last 5 or 6 years, and I don't think we've had a client whose competencies and behaviours differed from the one we put together. Most often than not, there's a few more in there, but they're a very good way to assess and analyse. So what that means is, with the assessments and those 2,100 data point checks that we have throughout the programme, we can measure the entire cohort competency both before and at the end of the programme. And if the programme includes other elements such as workshops or coaching, we're also measuring that as well at the same time. We measure each individual, and that means that across individuals and also multiple countries, departments, organisational functions, we can compare and contrast. The other powerful thing that we can do with the reporting is it's really good as a tool for people teams to determine where they invest their time next, both in developing resources and also in where managers need to spend more time. So if, for example, as we have here, the lowest competency across this particular cohort is to the left, it's communication. That may be an area where we want to invest more time to build everybody's skill up. We may find that only certain team members have got a certain area where they really need to develop, and somebody that's related to them in terms of the organisation has got a really high level of competency, so you might buddy them together. So as an analysis tool, both to measure the impact of any programme, plus as a tool to determine where we invest the most wisely next. That's what those reports are designed to be. So in summary, it's a proven way to develop great people managers. We measure it. We measure the outcomes. We can see the return on investment. We know where they started. We know where they got to at the end. We know the impact that's made, and we know where we might want to develop a little bit further. And that improves overall organisational performance. And that has a long-standing impact, because behaviour change means that everything from employee engagement surveys, productivity, motivation, staff turnover, staff performance, team performance, that all can be measured after we've delivered the programme. Importantly, we have CPD certification across the whole programme, which is continual professional development. Those of you that use that, particularly in the professional spaces, will find that very relevant. And I mentioned earlier the Institute of Leadership, a global organisation, about 70,000 members. They're focused very much on the practicality of being a great leader. They fully endorsed our programme, and we partner with them in various other ways as well. So it was very good to have external certification of the programme, but the reality is we're measuring what we do along the way. In terms of who it's suited for, it was originally designed for aspirational managers or people who are about to become a manager, or new managers 1 to 3 years in the role. However, what we've been finding lately, you may have come across a term called accidental managers. And accidental managers are sort of those people that are really good at doing something. They might be a great doctor, or they might be a great coder, or they might be a fabulous salesperson or an accountant. And they get promoted because they're fabulous at their job, but they don't necessarily get given the skills to be a people manager. And they may be in post for 4, 5, 6, 7 or longer years. And we're seeing an increasing number of those go through the programme. And because they can develop their skills in their own time, in private almost, as somebody said to me, that means that they can build on those people management skills that they were never had the opportunity to do so. So that's the audience we use for it. Another free thing for you. It's our 30th year in business at the moment. And so we're doing 30 organisations. We've got cohorts for 3 people to go through 3 courses. Some of them have already been used, some of them haven't. So if anybody wants to get in quickly and use the QR code or the link, you're very welcome to apply for one of those free cohorts. And along the way, we wrote down everything we learned. So all the secrets, all the things we discovered, we put into a book. And I've got a handful of publisher copies here. If anybody would like one of those, either get in touch through the website, or equally as importantly, it would be great to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, amazing. Thank you so much indeed. Funnily enough, I use the same thing about, what gets measured gets attention, but I kind of extended that and I look at it, what gets measured gets done as well. So, because, often people forget about that whole chain effect, not just getting attention, but actually getting the job done. So it's really good that you're looking at the same thing. I love as well that you are looking at accidental managers. I do think around the world, I meet lots of people that are accidental managers, the best person in their job that suddenly gets the responsibility of looking after the team. And we expect them to be really high performing without actually giving them the tools to do that. And I'm really glad to see that your program is really kind of looking at that cohort of people and how you can really drive business performance by just, even if it's just 5% incremental change of the manager base level skills, could make 10-20% difference to the overall activity of the organization. So really great. And also good to hear about how your programs apply across the world. So that's, really good. They're deployable anywhere. So that's really fantastic. Just finally, just to say, love the free offer. Everyone loves the free offer. So thanks very much for sharing that, and happy birthday to the organisation.
Thank you very much indeed, Jonathan.
Thanks so much, Pete. Good to have you on board. We're going to move on, though. We've got Cassandra Baxendale. She is from Metaverse Learning, and she is going to talk about some of the best tech in the business for skills and training. So good morning to you, Cass. Lovely to have you on board.
Lovely to be here, and good morning everyone. Absolute pleasure to join you today for SkillsFest 2025. So Cassandra Baxendale, Business Development Director here at Metaverse Learning. So fantastic sessions so far, and today's session we'll be looking at transforming learning using immersive technologies. So we know already, we've heard so much, in a rapidly evolving world, the way we train, upskill and empower our workforce must evolve too. There's no other choices there. So today we're going to delve into the cutting edge methodologies and technologies that are reshaping how we deliver training, basically making it more engaging, effective and accessible than ever before. But it's not just about innovation, it's about solutions. So solutions to fix a fragmented skills system. It often leaves learners, employers disconnected. So if we can actually challenge that and take that forward, that's what we'll be looking at today. So about us then, so who are Metaverse Learning? So Metaverse Learning is the UK's leader in immersive education, using extended reality to simulate real world environments for vocational learners. So you can see a little bit of a blurb about us there. We provide a strong focus on practical hands-on experience. So our virtual environments that we've created allow learners to safely explore real world scenarios and develop the confidence and best practices in a controlled and risk-free setting. So it's deeply embedded in technical education. We've got a proven track record. We've been doing this for absolute years now. And like I said, it's bridging the gap between education and employment through accessible learning. One of the main things I want to draw your attention to is collaboration. So collaboration is the key buzzword for the whole of Metaverse Learning. So we bring together industry partners, further education providers, and we co-create content which is truly made for industry by industry. I'm going to zoom through this because I've got lots to get through, but we have loads of different partners from colleges, universities, awarding bodies, independent training providers, national skills academies, and this is just a tiny fraction of the amount we have. So really proud of all of our partners. So how do we deliver our content? So this is examples of technologies. So we deliver our content in a variety of different formats to ensure it's accessible to all learners. The preferred method, so we're looking down here, virtual environment, this is how we create it primarily. And that's because it's laptops, computers, tablets. You don't need anything special, making it the resources accessible to everyone. We obviously can move to different areas like simulators, so we can put our software into there. We've got the amazing immersive rooms, so we can project all of our content onto 4 walls. You can feel as if you walk in, you don't need any hardware because you're walking into a room and you're being engaged to a different level. So we do that. We've also got virtual reality, and I'll just play a little video here, just a snippet. So you pop a little headset on and then you're taken to the next level. So if you have that, then great, pop it on. You can see the sights, hear the sounds, and feel as if you're in that environment. So this one here is a wind turbine. So if you imagine in the middle of a field, you know, thousands of miles up, let you have the skills to succeed in that environment. We can replicate injuries, deaths, all sorts of things, working from heights, and you really feel as if you're in that environment and do all them technical jobs whilst you're in there. So this technology continues to evolve, but the actual answer and the goal remains the same. We want to have a really great learning environments that we can share with different audiences. So examples of construction and green skills. So our catalogue is huge. You know, we don't just do construction and green skills, you know, right from nursing right through to early years. But today I really want to focus on construction and sustainability because it's really key at the moment, and obviously, you know, a huge part of SkillsFest. So as we work towards net zero carbon targets, the demand for skilled professionals in retrofit into solar thermal, solar PV, heat pumps, you know, it's never been greater. Millions of homes across the UK are requiring this energy efficient upgrades, and that's why we're being called to actually fill that gap. We need to get people to where they need to be, and this is how we're going to do that. So I'm going to share some videos with you. I'm going to go from one to the next and give you a bit of an example about what we do. So first of all, we've got one in bricklaying, okay? So in this environment, you can navigate anywhere you want to. You can use your mouse, your keyboard, whatever you feel more comfortable with. You're given a scenario up front. You're going to build a wall to DPC level. You know, anybody can go in here, but the idea is to get you them skills you need to succeed. We don't just put you on the site and let you get going. We want you to do the tasks behind it. We want the functional skills maths. We want you to order the right amount of materials that you need. If you overorder, what's going to happen? What's the implications? If you underorder, you know, it's going to be a 6 weeks wait before we can even make the DPC wall level. So we take you through a process. We guide you, so we support you, but we challenge you. So here we're plumbing the line, we're making sure we know all of the skills we need to succeed in this area. Bearing in mind, if you needed to build a wall, we need to lay all that out for you if we're in an environment, give you access to all of the different PPE options. But here I'm wanting you to do the task right from the beginning, right through to the end. We incorporate health and safety in every single element that we do. We challenge, so you can see the questions coming up here, and they get progressively harder. They're also randomised, so no 2 learners will get the same in that environment. And we can also change and adapt the level, you know, of what's the word, hard and easy, you know, across the way. So if we need to move that, we can do. As you click, every single click goes through to learning management system. So we can track, we can see progress, we can see exactly what scores you get at the end. We're giving immediate feedback. Why is that important? Well, today's learners, they like instant gratification. So let's give them what they need. We'll give them the tools here to be able to work through. They can work at their own pace. They're not rushed. They can go at their own level and work through all of the environment until they get to the end. We're mixing, we're moving through, we're doing all the skills we need. At the end of the scenario, we give you a full score breakdown. Now, this is great because it shows you exactly what you've done throughout the process. Scenario around 30 to 40 minutes long, but like I said, work on your own pace, go through it at that time. So on here, 38%, I would actually be looking for a score of around 90, 95%. So we can replicate, keep on going through until we get better at this task. We give score feedback, so everything and all of the different skills challenges that we've gone through, you will get points, okay? So we either get it right, we get it wrong. If you've got it wrong, we'll tell you why you've got it wrong. If you've got it right, we'll congratulate you and say, you know what, we reinforce that. Here's some further work to move on to. So absolutely fantastic way of learning. I'm going to show you another one as well, retrofit. Now, retrofit has been absolutely huge. It is an area where we need to skill a workforce. This environment here allows you to walk around, again, go anywhere around the property. This is actually a tutor, and she actually comes on. If I can turn this up a little bit for us, we might be able to hear her.
I'm Siobhan, and I'll be your instructor for today. I'll be taking you through your induction in retrofit assessment.
Okay, so Siobhan is going to take you around in this first environment so that you can understand exactly what retrofit is. Because when we've gone out to education and also into industry, there's a lack of knowledge in this area. So this first scenario allows you to see every single task you would need to do, right from looking at the different wall types, the insulation methods, changing conditions, insulation techniques, and we go through every single process. Once you move on from this scenario, it builds, and we put you in that position. We give you a task. We give you all of the skills you need to be able to succeed, to successfully go around and retrofit your own house. So you would do all them challenges, whether that's going downstairs, in the kitchen, outside, assessing, up into the loft, and you can walk everywhere you want to. Remembering that this is also in a headset version as well. So if you want to experience that and walk around, then absolutely, you'd be able to go upstairs and see all of the things that we're looking at here. As we go around, we challenge, and obviously we need to have a look at conducting all the different processes within there. We need to be keeping to strict guidelines. We also need to be using the latest tech that they can use on the job as well. Energy performance reports, we can review that at any time. At the end, again, we get a score breakdown. I'm obviously a lot better at this than I am at bricklaying, 100%. Again, we can pull off that report, we can keep it to track for later, and everything's there about your learners so they can have a look at that at any time. Now, health and safety in construction, there's so much to go through here, but this one again is key. Health and safety can be very, very flat learning, and that's the feedback we get. So we are in the process of creating a new health and safety consortia, and it's bringing people together to be able to understand health and safety in the construction environment. So again, this can be used by industry. It can be used in the classroom. It can be used in so many different ways. I mean, this is just a snippet, but look at the graphics on this. You know, this is a new project. We're welcoming people to come on board with us to help and develop it and take it even further. So let me come off that one. So there's so many different areas we can support learners with this hands-on training to give them the skills they need. Now, I'm super excited to take this to the next level. I mean, we've heard this morning all about AI, and, you know, it is really exciting. And we've moved in this direction, and we've got some really new technology and examples that I want to share with you today. So if I bring this video on here, and I did promise there's going to be lots of videos, so I hope that's okay. And if I just pause it there. So what you have here is an AI character. This character can talk to you. I can tell her my name, and she will respond. And I can ask her any questions I want to about the training in this area. Now, this is a real site in the UK before I start it. She's going to walk around and give me information. I'm going to turn the volume up and you'll be able to hear her speaking to us.
Welcome to the metering stream. I will be your virtual tour guide. Do you want to get started?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Great, let's start then. Follow me.
Okay, so she's going to take you around this site and she's going to introduce you to all the different elements within this environment. Now, she will know my name, so she'll go, Cassandra, can you tell me about this inlet valve? And I'll say, okay, I'm not sure about that. Can you tell me more? She will tell you everything you need by you simply asking her that question. She will provide more details. She's very clever in that she'll come back and actually challenge you on what you've learned already. Now, this is really, really powerful and it's controlled data. So the AI uses information relevant to the site you're learning about. It's almost like a focused search engine. If I was to say to her, I like your jacket, where did you get that from? She would be really polite about that and go, Cassandra, thank you very much. However, let's get back to the topic that we're talking about. Let's go through this and work out what we need to do. Now, this is absolutely transforming the way that we work in terms of training. This can be typed, I can do speech recognition. It's absolutely great. The key information here is this is transforming not only this type of industry, but also nursing, hospitality, and all different areas. So it's imagining that you can have a virtual tutor available to you 24/7 that knows absolutely everything about that area. So that is a really, really powerful tool. Now, I'm conscious I'm a little bit short on time, so I am going to quickly zoom. Augmented reality, if you have your phones ready, which I should have warned you about at the beginning, you can have a go at this. Augmented reality, we'll send this out to you. And again, this is brilliant. It brings things to life. We've got an arm here, which is from the robotics manufacturing program that we've done. Visualize it, put it in the middle of the room, and you can see everything as if it's actually in front of you. And last of all, I want to share about our careersverse. So we've looked at training, but I want to just tell you about sector attraction. This is super exciting, our new careersverse focused on attracting young people into the workforce. I'm just going to play a video and it will speak for itself. Oh, let me just stop sharing a second. I've shared it too soon. That was an error. Oh, sorry, hold on. Oh, bear with me. I do apologise. I'm going to run out of time now, aren't I, Jonathan? Okay, let me see the last one. Okay, I was super excited to share this with you, so let me just quickly play this for you. Okay. So what we have here is a careerverse where you can walk around and find out everything about different industries. Imagine this is going to go out to millions of young people. It's going to be free to schools. There's going to be employers in there. We've got businesses in there as well. And it's taking careers to the next level. It's all been devised, it's all been created, and you will hear more about this in tomorrow when Majid shares this with us on one of the presentations. It's absolutely huge, and I would love to share more information if anybody would like any more details. And with that, I'm going to come back to you because I know I ran out of time.
Cassandra, thank you so much. Metaverse does so much, and it has so much on offer that I think you're always up against the challenge to try and explain it within a 15-minute time slot. And as you say, tomorrow afternoon we have Majid from MX Reality who's showcasing Careersverse, and I particularly love Careersverse because it is like a careers show, I guess. And you can walk from zone to zone and you can look at all the careers and all of the companies that are in that particular industry sector or in those jobs can buy pictures if you like and be part of that, so they can showcase best jobs that they've got available in a particular company or particular sector. So it's really brilliant. I'm going to invite all of our speakers to come back on now because we do have a few questions that have come in. So if you could stop sharing, I think you have, but if we have all our speakers back on, that would be amazing. And then we will go through the questions and answers. And I guess, first of all, I'm going to start with you, Cass, but this is a question for everybody as well. You talked about, we want to bring in more organizations to support the development of a particular program. And one of the great things about metaverse learning is that it kind of convenes a group of people, experts and users all in the same space, and also funders, right? So most people think that this kind of development is really super expensive and it's out of my league and I can't really touch it and it won't apply to our country and all of that. And actually, it kind of feels to me like the reverse is true because of the way that you convene people. And I wondered if you could just talk about that, because I think you co-share costs and things like that. So everyone puts a little bit in and everyone gets a lot out. Is that right? Is that the kind of model? Talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And had I had more time, I would explain about that. So the consortium model, if you imagine, it can cost hundreds of thousands to create absolutely fantastic immersive learning. But what we tend to do is if there's a need, so let's go back to retrofit. If one person says, you know what, retrofit's where we need to go, I will go out to partners, I will go out to businesses, organizations and say, okay, is anybody else in that same situation? Yes, we are. Okay, let's sit around a virtual table. Let's all contribute a small amount into the middle of the table. We'll share that cost between us, we'll share our expert knowledge between us, and then that'll allow us to co-create we'll develop the content, and then what we'll do as a reward is we'll give you that content for life to use with your learners at a fraction of the cost. So it's a super model. It works so well, and it allows anybody to access that. Also, what we do is we share that. So once we've created it, anybody can come along and they can license that at a really small cost, and they can use that with their learners. So we've really thought about it, and it's, super.
Thanks, Cass. Anybody else using kind of co-creation, co-funding and all of that in the work that they do? So, for example, Pete, in your management program, are there other management contributors that contribute to that program, or Paul with regards to qualifications development? Are there a range of organisations, for example, that sit around the table and develop a qualification?
Yes, absolutely. All the best ideas come from the customers for certain. So, yeah, we've just launched a significant upgrade to it, and I would say 90% of the ideas came from clients or the cohorts who do the program. So whether that's small changes or quite significant ones. We recently had somebody who commented they had dyslexia, so we were able to make some changes that made learning easier for them. So there's very much a case of that. We also spend a lot of time working with coaches and other people to fit what they do around what we do. And on top of that, we've had a couple of organisations who've asked if they could take the characters and the storylines and create their own additional courses based on the characters, the storylines and the environment. So we've had other companies create additional courses in areas that we weren't able to do. So yeah, we like to see it growing, and we're always tweaking it in some way or shape.
Fantastic. And Paul, with regards to qualifications, are they co-created, or do you create them yourselves in a cupboard under the stairs like Harry Potter?
I wish I'd find that cupboard, Jonathan. Generally, everything we do is co-created. Qualifications are developed in conjunction with industry, employers, other interested stakeholders and partners, and most importantly, customers who deliver them, such as Code Institute. So that's a great example. We also work to develop other content to support the delivery of our qualifications as well, in different levels of expertise and presence.
Brilliant, thank you. Anybody else want to comment on co-creation before we move on to the next one? I just want to actually take a look at international environments and labour markets overseas. And I'm a big believer that vocational training of any type is a first choice, every time choice, never a second choice or bad choice. And I think that's whether it's management, training, engineering, doesn't matter what it's like. People need skills to do the jobs that are available in the local economy. And I just wondered how you're all focused on labour demands in other markets. Do you kind of spend time really digging deep on a country in terms of its labour market challenges and the frustrations that it might have with its young people, for example? If you take the UK, has a large number of not in employment, education or training. That number is much bigger overseas as well. So what are you doing in that space to kind of really think about labour market demands?
I'm happy to go first, if that's okay.
Good.
I mean, we had two key things that we wanted to when we developed the program. The first was it should work for any culture, and it should be particularly suited to every generation. So all the early pilots we did ranged from over in the States to Singapore, Sri Lanka, and we were very careful in the scripting to make sure that we covered all situations. In terms of costing, you mentioned that labour market challenges, certain countries, particularly where we've got clients at the moment in Sri Lanka, very difficult financially there. So they need to achieve more for less. And they also need to be able to go back over it, certainly if English isn't their first language. So we're very aware of that, and we're very conscious to make it suited for each individual market. What we do find is that regardless of what age group we get feedback from, they're finding it easier to work together because they understand different generational needs and different cultural needs. So that was a very important consideration for us in putting the whole thing together and continuing to evolve it. So it was very much, we were determined to make it a global product.
Okay, I just want to quickly have a question for Crispin actually and Lee, and I suppose really it's for Cass as well and Kavitha in terms of use of technology and all of that. are there any bars to using that technology? Does it block people from participating? Must they have a particular type of technology, or can it be done literally on any tablet, anywhere, any phone, any type? I guess I'm trying to make sure it's really open access and equitable for everybody. Otherwise, it becomes really difficult, and it's always those with a phone only or those with a laptop only. Lee.
Yeah, well, as an organization, I'm off mute. Yeah, as an organization, we adhere to the principles of universal design for learning. Like when I spoke about removal of barriers. Finance is a barrier. Digital poverty is an issue, not just in the UK, but internationally. When we put together our programs, our courseware, our platform, we put it together with that in mind, ensuring that the lowest barrier for entry is there in terms of accessing the learning platform and engaging with the learning content, completing the tasks. Learners simply need to be able to access a modern web browser, and that is on the most minimal hardware that is available. In terms of engaging with learning materials, any device is appropriate, but when it comes to best practice for working as a software developer or data analyst, naturally you are much better working at a traditional computer, a laptop, or even a Chromebook or a device like that, just from an endpoint and user experience perspective. It is possible with other devices, but not recommended. But it's a very valid point. When you're teaching digitally and you're using the platform to reach people internationally, you do have to be very conscious of the fact that access is an issue and make sure that it can be availed up by as many people as possible.
Great, thanks. Anyone else got any comments on that? Otherwise, I'm going to go around the room and just ask you literally for 15 seconds each on why people should engage with you and what brilliance you can bring to the world. So this is your kind of final pitch before we move on.
I would like to add on the digital barrier that you mentioned, Jonathan. So a few years back, it would have been a barrier that it has to be, the answers has to be typed in. But now with technology, we have also adopted, it can be handwritten, it can be scanned. So which is really, really something. It makes the access to the AI automating tool much more without any barriers. When you say it's fine if you don't have a device, just handwritten scan copies can be uploaded directly. So essentially what we need is a stable internet connection for them to upload and to receive that feedback back. So yeah, so that barrier has been completely removed.
And talking about internet connection, living in the UK but digitally poor, I'd love one of those if you can find one for me. Literally, I'm a mile outside of town, and you'd think I was in the middle of the desert somewhere. But thank you. And actually, as it happens, you're first on my clock, because so we go round in order on the clock like creeping death. So, Kavitha, why should people engage with you? What's the benefit? You've got 15 seconds, so it's a short final pitch. Off you go.
Absolutely, yeah, thank you. Organizations are spending a lot of time and money to recruit qualified assessors at high, to make sure that they deliver the marking and feedback to the learners to ensure progress. Use AI technology that is bespoke, marked, AI trained on your data, your content, to make sure that that process is efficient, saves time and a lot of money for you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Cass, you're next.
Yeah, so engage with us and we'll be able to transform the way you deliver training, give everybody the skills they need to succeed, using specialist technology, just a laptop, computer, tablet, and we will be able to tap into all them skills that are needed, not only in the UK but well beyond.
Yeah, I would just say, drawing upon the presentation I gave of the work we do with Gateway Qualifications, we're very, very good at joining the dots when it comes to removing barriers for people accessing education and training, regardless of context, whether they're an individual learner or an employee. So reach out to myself or Paul, and we'll work out a way or a framework that works well for you and for us.
And as you did a double act, we're going to go with Paul next.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Lee. Gateway Qualifications is a not-for-profit charitable organisation about widening participation as one of its core charitable objects and removing barriers and access to employment and skills, and particularly in digital skills. That's what we're about. And you can see from what we've spoken about today with Lee, how we break those barriers down.
Thanks very much indeed. I will just say actually on the word charity, because it always worries me that people overseas think that means it's free to them. It doesn't mean it's free. It just means that they still have to make a profit. It just means they don't share it with the shareholders. That they reinvest it back into their organisations to make even more training brilliant. So it's just about making sure that it is cost effective and washing its face. Good, great, thanks, Paul. Carlos, you're next.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jonathan, first of all, for all this. So I would say Upskill Universe has been in business for 10 years. We've worked with some amazing companies and are working with some amazing companies like HSBC, Google, BT, Lloyd's, Amazon, Walmart, Fujitsu, Santander, and even the NHS. And we have an amazing team. We have our own LXP, and we are very much at the forefront of digital skills, and would love to work with you.
Great, Crispin.
Thanks. I'm off mute. Just checking. Let's see. If we want to grow economies and create real digital equity, we need to upskill the businesses we already have. So we are looking to work with partners to bring real, practical, industry-led AI and digital capability to SMEs globally. So if that's your mission too, please connect with me on LinkedIn or via the links that I sent.
I'm loving all that, but particularly the focus on SMEs who are, time poor, money poor, and, they need help and support, because that's where big growth is potentially happening. And finally, Pete, that just leaves us with you.
I just have a question for anybody that's watching, and that is, have you ever experienced a bad manager? Because if you have, you know the impact it has on you at work and outside of work as well. So that's what we do. We help create great managers, and great managers impact lots of people's lives, drive businesses, increase profit. So anybody out there that needs to create better managers, particularly with their people, engage with us. That's what we do.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. That does draw to the end of this session. There is another Skills Fest session in 2 hours time at 12 o'clock, and again at 4 p.m. this afternoon, and again tomorrow 8, 12 and 4, and then Friday at 8 a.m. Thank you to all of our speakers. So Crispin Reed from the Coders Guild, Erica Farmer from QuantumRise, Carlos from Upskill Universe, Paul and Lee from Gateway Qualifications and Code Institute, and Kavitha from Sainaptic, Pete from Upskill People, and Cass from Metaverse Learning. Huge thanks to you all. It's been a pleasure. I'm Jonathan Ledger from the Department for Business and Trade and UK Skills Partnership. I'll be back in 2 hours. So new session, new people, new subjects. Join us again. Thanks very much indeed, everyone.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for having me. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you very much.